And today we will be discussing creating stronger campaigns with value-based audiences. So we'll be sharing insights, how to grow your market, why segmentation is important, and how to communicate with your target audience. And to make sure that we are helping you as best as we can, we have the chat box available on the top bar you can see next to the people. So please feel free to use that, ask your questions. From some time to time, I will stop Roel and Monique and ask your questions to them. And yeah, I think that's it. So without further ado, let me introduce our speakers of today. So Roel Schoemaker, Glocalities Principal Strategy Consultant. He's been advising clients on aspects that affects lives of consumers in the areas of living, working, shopping, and leisure for more than 20 years. And Monique Kemperman, Flower Council of Holland International Campaign Manager. And Monique has been running the consumer research for the Flower Council of Holland for many years and building successful campaigns. And this is what we will discuss today. So let's start. I will leave the stage to Monique.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the introduction, Melis. Well, as Melis already told you, I work for the Flower Council of Holland. You might not know it, but we are, know us. We are a promotional and marketing organization financed by growers and exporters of Dutch flowers and plants. And we are promoting the flowers and plants for the whole sector. We do this through awareness campaigns, inspiring content, PR activities, and shopper activation. We are mainly working in 4 markets. So it's the Netherlands, Germany, France, and the UK. These are the markets where most of our products go to. And we work with our consumer brands, Funny How Flowers Do That, and The Joy of Plants, and their sister brands in the other countries. Go to the next slide, thank you. We have sort of limited budgets if we compare it to other brands or products, and that because of that we have to we try to make most, of course, of our euros that we spend, because we are financed by others, and that we thought we better find a common ground to build our campaigns upon, and find existing audiences to communicate to. Next. So having that in mind, we, together with our partners, the auction, Royal Flower Holland, and the Association of Exporters, we asked Glocalities to build a segmentation to find the segments we should be communicating to. And these are value-based segments, so they share the same orientation and attitudes with respect to flowers and plants. Okay.
All right. Shall I take over from here, Monique?
Yes, you can take over and tell a little bit more about the segmentations, I think.
Well, hello, everybody. It's very nice meeting you all, although unfortunately online. Of course, we're going to tell about the campaigns Monique built for the Flower Council of Holland. But before that, I was thinking about a little small part of theory. Don't worry, I will not will be very exhaustive. But I guess it's good to tell a little bit about why segmentation, what segmentation is, what are the differences between segments and target audiences, and what exactly is value-based segmentation. And after this little theory, I will immediately give the word back to Monique to show her slides about the campaigns because I think they're much more interesting. But okay, why segmentation? Well, you have many discussions about it. We probably have heard everything and all about Byron Sharp, who more or less thinks that segmentation is a waste of time and money, and that you have to be salient and everywhere. Yeah, that might be so, but most of the companies we work for, although also even the big multinational ones, do not have the budgets to be salient all over the time. And it is quite impossible to target everybody, to please everybody. So to a certain extent, somehow you need to have clear audiences in mind so that you can build your campaigns on, or your marketing activities, and also new product development. So it is making marketing, communication, sales, and NPD more effective. And to build upon that a little further, it's the second point, providing a universal language to internal and external stakeholders. Mind you, that's also very important. It's easier to brief creative agencies when you all have a clear segments in mind who the company or the brand is going to target. Also internally, especially, and hence also a lot of companies work with personas. It is a way of easy communicating so that everybody speaks the same language and know what you're talking about. Then the third point is maybe a bit less known, but it's about calibrating positioning claims. You perfectly know that when it comes to brand positioning, it's more of an inside-out kind of discussion. It is what we want to be for the consumers or for the outside world. And sometimes they forget a little bit to check this somehow, to calibrate this somehow with important consumer groups. But what do they find? So basically, segmentation also helps you to match values of relevant consumer groups or client groups with your own organizational or brand values. Now, what is segmentation? To put it bluntly, it is putting people in boxes. And people could be clients, customers, consumers, citizens, but you put people in boxes based on shared characteristics. And then you have the several ways of doing it. Of course, the classical one is social demographics, gender, education, household composition, religion, nationality, well, name it. And mind you, it is still a very important way for putting people in boxes. Then later arrived behavior, purchase behavior, heavy users, light users, medium users. Also lifestyle, which is called more psychographic variables, is a form of behavior because it has to do with your hobbies and interests. And so basically, you need it all. If every good segmentation is built upon these pillars, you can say, and also about values and attitudes. And why is this so important? Well, I come to reflect on that a little later, a bit more exhaustively, but it really gives a face to the consumer or the client. Okay, then also discussion of the differences between segmentation and target audience. Well, they are much alike, but in general, you can say that segmentation is about identifying different groups within a society or within a country, within a market, irrespective of you want to target them. And target audience could be a segment, it could be one or two segments or one or two segments combined, but it is a group of consumers you want to give special attention to because you see a lot of potential. Often you see with communication that target audiences consist of a specific group and then a subgroup within a segment, for instance, because, for instance, based on age or all that. Anyway, so segmentation is a generic amount of groups based on the same characteristics, a target audience then, because it has special attention, special potential for grow your brand, for instance. Now, Going now a little bit to the values and attitudes component, because I mean, segmentation in the end, it's about giving a face to consumers. And giving a face to consumer is not that easy. Which, for instance, it's wonderful if you know that consumers purchase your product or your brand a lot, and they have a lot of hobbies, and they read certain newspapers, and they have a specific gender and a specific education level and all that. But it doesn't tell you anything about what really makes them tick, how you can resonate with them in a way that they are inspired or have sympathy for your brand and want to purchase your products. So tapping into value orientation of consumers is indeed a way to, next to all those important characteristics like social demographical information and purchase information, it gives really a face to the ones you want to target. Now, how does this look like? Of course, this is a bit of a silly joke, but in the end, it's a powerful visual on the one hand, because here you see two persons, two consumers, you can say, who are from a social demographical point of view, almost clones. I mean, they have a specific age, born in the same country, have a specific, were married twice. I think they both live in castles. But you know immediately that these are completely different in terms of what they like, what they do, the hobbies they have. And it also gives you already kind of an inch of why they are so different. Now, we as researchers, because Glocalities is an international market research, we do this in a more, let's say, scientific way, and we make use of obvious methods and research techniques. For instance, quantitative online research. And what we do is nothing more than what other market research agencies do. Above the surface, we measure what and how and social demographics and lifestyles and issues people are worried about. And that is also pretty visible, and it's not so difficult for respondents to answer these questions because it's rather clear to them. However, if you really want to know what makes people tick, if you really want to give a face to people, you need also to measure other things, their people's value orientation, what drivers are behind why people like things or purchase things or embrace things. You really want to know and understand why people do the things they do and think the things they think. And that is what we extra embed in our, let's say, research techniques. And I will show you here. Every year on an annual basis, we conduct a worldwide research on our own initiative. We're also financing it mostly by ourselves, in which we not only measure those, let's say, above the surface things, but we also go deeper below the surface and tap into this value orientation of consumers. And let me give you a few examples of that. So we measure, for instance, more than 80 value trends. There are also called socio-cultural undercurrents. For instance, it's the view upon life. Is the world your backyard? Or is it something hostile and strange and you don't want to have to do too much with it? People, for instance, if we have to bring it a little bit more to flower and plants, if you adhere more a global village point of view, you might want to try out some exotic plants or flowers. Whereas if you're scoring very low on the global village, you probably are more oriented on locally produced stuff, also not so fancy ones, because it's safe and it's something that you feel enough secure about. Family importance another, let's say, value trend. These people really find their family very important. Often these people are also more locally oriented, but that isn't necessary. Somebody could be very global oriented and finding family important in the same time. But when you translate it again to flowers and plants, it would be like making your home cozy so that people feel welcome, that they are, yeah, welcome in the homes and hearts of this house. Empathy, important that people be able to put themselves in other person's shoes is another value trend. But you can also think about status orientedness, risk averse, people who wants to create things, people who are curious and want to explore things. So we have more than 80 of these trends that we're measuring in that survey.
Roel, before we continue, we have one question in the chat box coming from Alex.
Okay.
The question is, do all values you measure need to be relevant for the product? In this case, flowers and plants.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'm also going to build upon that a little further, and the answer is no. And it's also important to tell you already now that what I measure in my own research, you can say, are generic values. And what we did for the Flower Council of Holland is also adding values and attitudes specifically related to the category flowers and plants. I hope this answers your question. So we're talking about what we measure in that worldwide research are more generic values, and we do it in different ways. And another ways of measuring values is looking into archetypes. I personally love archetypes. There are mythological role patterns that you can find everywhere around the world. Not founding father are the Greeks, but Carl Gustav Jung in the last century did a lot with these personas. And archetypes is not only about values, and it's also a little bit about aspirational value. So if somebody in our research say that they find the archetype, the innocent, very appealing, it means that these people are, yeah, yearning for paradise. It's innocence is about harmony, it's about safety, it's about well, it's almost going back to the Garden of Eden. Nothing's going wrong over there. And caregiver is another archetype, and this is not so much about harmony, but this is really about taking care of the other. And it's already very interesting to translate these kind of images for the flowers and plants category, for instance. So if you are targeting people more into the archetype of the innocent, you see this beautiful scenery, this Garden of Eden, as you can say. But let's go for the explorer, the archetype, exploration, and translating it to flowers and plants. It's something like trying out new things, maybe putting something in a different scenery, your garden, for instance. And the ruler is also an interesting archetype. I mean, the ruler stands for values like control and order and discipline and power. And people who like the ruler are either think that they are in control, but also you see in the results that sometimes they want to have more control in their lives. And then if you know this, you can translate these connotations, these drivers into storylines, into narratives when making campaigns, for instance, or contents for your social media. Another one is then ambitions, also very powerful when it comes to orientations. So we ask people, how do you want your life to develop in the coming 5 years? It's more than 25. It's about feeling safe, having a good family life, making career, be happy with life, developing yourself. And when you know this, if this is what people want, again, you can immediately translate it and embed it in your narratives towards the consumer. I give you a last one, which is more into the psychology of consumers. It's about persuasion tactics. So some people are more sensitive to authority. They want to have a well-known person or a doctor or an expert who's telling them, well, if you buy this product or this brand, it would be wonderful. Others are more into disrupt and reframe, which is putting something or a product or a problem that people have into a new perspective, letting people look at things in a different way is also a very powerful way of getting people's attention. However, not all consumers find it so nice. And other consumers are more into guarantees. Okay, well, are you sure that if I buy this product, there will be nothing wrong? We even found a flower and plant segment who's scoring very high on guarantees because they don't want to have risks. So if they go to the florist, they want to be reassured that they're not going to make a fool of themselves and that the plant or flower is lasting long enough. All right. Building upon what I said earlier, what I've showed you so far in our research program, it's about generic values. And these generic values you find everywhere around the world, also in the core markets of the Flower Council of Holland, the Netherlands, Germany, France, and UK. However, in our research, generic values, we did not ask questions about, do you like flowers? Do you purchase flowers? How often do you purchase flowers? All these kind of U&A kind of question, or customer journey kind of questions. And we also did not embed in our survey, our own survey, all kinds of attitudes and values with respect to flowers and plants. Now, you can think of, for instance, do you want, by purchasing flowers, you want to make an impression on others? So the status aspect of flowers and plants come into play. Or, for instance, you can think of expressing your creativity, making beautiful collages with plants and flowers. Or is it important for you that you bring in nature into your house? Or that you want to welcome visitors and make your home a cozy place so that they feel assured and safe and nice and loved and all that. So we had to add all this information by conducting bespoke survey into this market and combining all the new information with the already generic information that we had from the Glocalities research program. And based on that, we did a lot of methodological, statistical analysis and factor analysis. Well, you probably don't know, or you do know, or maybe you don't want to know. But in the end, you end up with a number of segments. And for the Flower Council of Holland and the partners, we found 5 segments. It could have been 8 or 7 or 6, but 5 segments is a nice number to work with. And they are all boxes based on homogeneous characteristics. We plotted those 5 segments, consumer segments, on 2 dimensions, value dimension. The vertical dimension is the status dimension, and the horizontal dimension, the innovation. It means to what extent you're open to try out new things or new species or varieties or doing it different, all these connotations. And also status is an important value driver behind flowers and plants. Let me show you 2 segments, the aesthetic explorer and status seeker. You will find them in the upper quadrants of this positioning graph. Status seekers is by far the biggest one, 22%. Aesthetic explorer, 12%. Both scoring high on status, but totally different, because the aesthetic explorer is more intrinsically motivated, and that's why we use the word aesthetic. It's really about creating. It's about inspiring people. It's about making your home beautiful, also because it's coming also out of self-development, for instance. Whereas status seekers are more extrinsically motivated when we talk about status. It's about making an impression on the other. It's about showing off. It's about also don't blame yourself by coming with something when you, for instance, going to an anniversary or you want to surprise somebody, that you really, yeah, you make a statement with it. Of course, there are others. We have the caring conventionalist, especially big in the Netherlands, which is a more traditionally family-oriented segment. It's about family, friends, receiving at home, in the garden, nice and cozy. Cozy is also a typical Dutch word for having a good time together with the ones you loved. So it's not so much on experimenting or buying all kinds of new, interesting new varieties. No, it's more about doing normal, doing what you used to do. Nature care is also a very nice segment. They are really the eco-conscious nature lovers who really want to use their hands and go into the earth to dig and to grow the plants and flowers by themselves. But they're also very people-oriented. So it's really, we found in our latest research also that this segment even became a little bigger, probably also due to COVID circumstances. Okay, but so far. Then the last one, the indifferent pragmatist. Well, already in the name, you can tell that this is not the target audience you want to build your campaigns on. But never mind you, they also buy flowers and plants. It's just that they only do it when they had to, for instance, for a funeral or a birthday party. Or it's not so much that they buy it for themselves. But still, you can make a buck out of this segment. But you can already understand that when you really want to do some overarching communication, also especially in more than one market, it's better to target other segments than the lower ones. May I give the floor to you, Monique?
We have one question, Roel, coming from
Okay.
Alex. Can every person be matched with one of these flower plant groups, or is a part of the consumer base left out of these 5 boxes?
Yeah, well, so there was, of course, a selection question in the questionnaire, and that people who really never buy flowers and plants were at a certain moment excluded from the further questions. But there aren't that many people who absolutely do not buy anything. So most of them end up in the indifferent pragmatist, people who sometimes buy flowers and plants, but they do it only on special occasions or because they think they have to. Is that answering your question, Alex? I don't hear anything, so
Yes, thank you. It's in the chat.
Yes, thank you
okay, sorry,
for
no
the answer.
problem.
Okay.
Monique?
Yeah, shall I take over now? Okay, thanks for the explanation and also going through our segments rule. I think you already gave a little bit away, but that's fine.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. You already explained a little bit more about the segments you found for us. And not only you talked a lot about how they're looking towards flowers and plants, but in the research we also asked them how often they buy and how much they spend. And so based on all those findings, we actually chose the Aesthetic Explorer as our main target audience, and so that we actually communicate on. There's only 12%. You might have thought we would go for the caring conventionalists, but having said they do like flowers and plants, but they don't buy it very frequently, and they always do what they used to. So they're not open for new things. So and we actually want to inspire people a lot. Also targeting the Aesthetic Explorer, we sort of have a extra when we make our campaigns with Aesthetic Explorer in mind. we also find that we reach the status seeker as well, and they also spend a lot of money on flowers and plants, and both those target groups also inspire others. So we make our target audience a little bit bigger through that. I think the next slide. And as Roel already mentioned before, it's nice also to have a sort of an idea what who you're talking to, also to brief your agencies. So also together with Glocalities, we worked on sort of a persona for our target audience to make them a little bit more come to life instead of just words. So here you can see a little bit about what they look like and what their lifestyle is about. Next slide. On this slide, that's also in the persona document. You see also the way they look towards flowers and plants. They like houseplants for more than decoration. They look at houseplants also as a sort of a design object. Same goes for flowers. And they also find that when you buy flowers for yourself or for somebody else, you pamper them or yourself. And they really like to explore new things. So that's also good for new varieties of flowers and plants and new trends in flowers and plants. Next. Yeah. And here is a little bit more about their lifestyle. So they like, they're brand oriented, but not as much as a status seeker. They use a lot of different media, so they're, well, easier to reach somehow, and they're very much into art and culture. Coming from that, we had this, and then we want to develop new campaigns with the target audience aesthetic explorer in mind, as already mentioned. We started developing 2 larger campaigns after these studies in 2018, one for flowers and one for houseplants. We will run these campaigns this year for the last time. You might have seen the flowers campaign on television the last few weeks. Well, I'll show it to you, so I'm just curious whether you've seen it or not. But before we went into developing the campaigns, we can go to the next slide.
Yep.
We also jotted down, worked on the brand essence for the flowers and both the plants, brand idea. Also having the segments or the aesthetic explorer in mind, the way they look towards flowers, and we found this very our brand essence. Flowers are so much more than eye candy, so they're more than just pretty. Flowers are all packed with emotion and have all sorts of positive short and long-term effects on how we feel. So this is actually where we built the campaign on, and we'll show it to you now.
Hopefully it's audible.
We need more flowers. We need more now. More thrills, more silliness, more action. We need more wows. We need more dreams, more impulses, more color. We need more wholehearted yeses. That's why we need more flowers. We need more.
I hope you could hear it and see it without stutters. I'm not sure. On my end, it stuttered a little bit. But if not, if you can see it or hear it very well, I'll share the link where you can find it on YouTube later after this presentation. I was just wondering, has anybody seen this the last few weeks on television? So just we'll see reactions coming in. So actually for the, oh, really? You saw it? Good. Thanks.
Someone saw it.
Yeah.
CB said yes,
Yeah.
and Joe was able to see it.
Oh, good. Well, it's good to hear. We'll get, well, there's room for, yeah, on Dutch TV, also on in Germany, France, and the UK. Last year also possible. Yeah, true. Last year also. Or the year before. I think last year not. The year before. Anyway, the same, following the same method. We also worked for plants, of course, the house plants. There we also built on a brand idea, thinking about how you feel better with plants around you. There's a lot of research also supporting that. Plants are not only stylish and bring energy, harmony to your house and your workplace. In return, of course, for a little bit of care and attention. That's still a little bit of a barrier for for a lot of people to buy plants. They don't have any green fingers. They think, but well, it doesn't cost that much time and energy, but it gives you a lot. So building on that idea, we came up with a quite a bit longer sort of video, 80 seconds. So bear with me for a little bit, and we'll show that one to you as well.
Have you ever thought about what plants do for you? Yes. Have you really? No. They've been taking care of us since the beginning of time. Well, maybe it's about time we say thanks, plant, for the air that we breathe. Thank you, plants, for adding coolness to summer. Thanks, plants, the color to winter too. Yeah, thanks for putting up with me every time I try to say. For not judging when I go hunting. Midnight snacks, you turned my house into a home. For making my overpriced one-bedroom flat feel worth it. And for forgiving me when I came stumbling home with that guy from account after the office party. For making me feel like I'm on a yoga retreat. That's all for growing and now it's with me growing for being much more than a plant. Really, thank you.
So in this video, we not only show, but also, well, in the song, we tell about all the benefits that plants bring to you. It's quite a nice, well, intensive production, as you can imagine, but well, we liked it the way we have the sort of a complete story in this reel. For last year, when COVID kicked in, a lot of people, of course, started working from home, and well, one of the benefits, of course, from plants is they give you rest when you your eyes rest when you look at them. They minimize stress level, etc. And we thought we'd better tell people that they need more plants in their home office. So we added a little short video for working from home for socials only. So it's a short one. So we tapped into, well, the current situation. So these are the two larger campaigns I wanted to show you, give you an idea about, and what we found. What we do, apart from the segmentation studies, we do a lot of consumer research, but also we want, of course, to know whether our campaigns are successful and they do what we hope them to do. So we measure our campaigns and content in 6 ways per year, depending on how much activities we have. and in which we also use the 5 defined consumer segments. These researches are done by the sister organization of Glocalities, Motivation. And important KPIs for us are buying intent. We don't, as a promotional organization, we don't own any outlets, so we can't get any information about really what people really buy. But we can ask them whether they, when having seen the campaign, are inclined to go and buy some flowers or plants. And then another KPI is whether they like it or not, the campaigns. I see there's a question, Melis.
Yes, Monique. So Corinne is asking, your target audience doesn't watch TV much, I assume. Why did you choose to use a TV ad, and did you benefit from it?
Yes, well, I'll come back to the benefits a little bit after these slides, and I'll show you the research results. But yes, they do watch television still. We found that also through our media agency. A lot of people still watch television, whether it's linear or yeah, after, but they still watch television, and even yeah, they do. Another question, Melis, or is that okay?
So we move to the results.
Yeah. Thanks, Flint.
We do have some questions coming in,
Okay.
so I'll read it. How were the somewhat abstract insights from the segments transferred to the agency producing the videos?
Well, as I've shown, we've shown, of course, the personas, but we also had a lot of talk about. They had insights into the research, and we had a lot of discussions about what our target audience looks like, and they did their own deep dive into a lot of people. So yeah, we came up with. You have to make choices somewhere, so I think we came up with quite a good result. Also looking at these stats.
And one more. So Joe is asking, the plant videos seem to have elements that would appeal to the status seekers group. Did you try to attract both groups?
Well, I don't know which elements she refers to. I'm curious about that. Perhaps working the office man. I'm not sure, but no, we actually had a look that we made that with the aesthetic explorer in mind, but we never mind also reaching the status seeker, as I already mentioned.
Yeah. Any more questions? Because I can't see
for now, or afterwards we can still have. Lifestyle, yeah, but the lifestyle stuff is actually also something for the aesthetic explorer. They really like to decorate their house and make it beautiful, but they don't want to show off as much as status seekers. So that's the difference between those, really. Does that answer your question? And I'll go on to the results. When we look at the Thanks Glance campaign and the appreciation by the aesthetic explorer, we see quite good numbers. We started with a 7.6 in 2018, and we're now at an 8.5 in 2021. We do think that adding the working from home video and some content around that did work towards that really great mark we got. And for the We Need More Flowers campaign, it's a little bit less, but still 8.1 at the moment. Really nice appreciation. I talked to Ruud, who does the studies for us, to give us a little bit of an idea on how to value those figures. And from his experience, When you get a 6 or a little bit more than a 6, it's good already. So yeah, we think we're quite of at least the creatives are nearly excellent, perhaps. Good thing to tell our agency. From the other KPI, we have the buying intent results. So we started in 2018. Buying intent as a result of seeing the campaign started at for the plant started at 71%, and we're now at 77%. So quite good. In flowers, it's a little bit less, but still very much on the high end, because also here we found, I asked Motive Action what is the benchmark, and normally, of course, it goes for other products, but normally it's about 25 to 50% they see in buying intent after people seeing a campaign. So we are really, really happy with the way we came to hold this process. So using the segments, making the creatives with the segments and the target audience in mind, and then also buying media that they look at or refer to, or so that comes to these results. So actually, that's my whole story. So if there's any questions for me or Roel.
Melis, is it okay if I stop sharing my screen, or is
yes, if you're done with the presenting, definitely we can stop. And please feel free to ask your questions, and you can also unmute yourself and ask the questions, because we are now done with the presentation. So, and by the way, I would like to invite everyone to follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter, because we have these webinars quarterly as Glocalities Academy. So next one will be, of course, for a different case. And if you want to know about the next webinar or other things, please follow us on social media. Any questions?
Or remarks?
Well, actually, I do have a question. Monique, Martijn Lampertero from Glocalities. Hi. Yes, I was wondering how these campaigns were received in the sector more widely amongst,
But amongst our finances, you mean? Or
yes, but also amongst the growers and
yeah. Well, the growers also finance us. Yeah. So amongst our stakeholders, yeah, they really like them. Especially, of course, when they're based in Holland and we're on TV, that always gives them a feeling of pride. But also they find they can really use it. They also post those on their socials. They want to use the materials. So yeah, they really think it's worth it. So that makes us happy as well. That's why we do it. No, yeah, what we do, we hope to make them sell more.
Clear, thank you.
And Alex is curious which group belong to. So
which group he belongs to, or
yeah, which group he belongs to.
Okay. I think I'm not sure, but there might be a link at the website of the auction where you can sort of do the test yourself. I can try and find it and put it in the chat later. But there also, I don't want to advertise Motive Action, but Motive Action has a link on their website to find out in which segment, Motive Action segment, you can right?
Belong to.
Yeah, which you belong to, and then you can find a little bit about. I think you can sort of then also find out a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah.
But not
But-
specific for flowers and plants, of course.
But if you dare, you could try to describe yourself in terms of what you like about flowers and plants, and then we'll put you into a box maybe, but
Yeah.
only if you dare.
There's a question. Greatest problem for me is you use target countries and receive funds from companies that do not target those countries. Why not target the whole world?
Excuse, I don't know. Can you repeat it?
Greatest problem for me is you use target countries and receive funds from companies that do not target those countries. Why not target the whole world?
Because we don't have the money to target the whole world. That's one. That's also why we can't target the whole every consumer. And on the other end, it's what I already told you in the beginning of the presentation. Most of the products going through the auction system in Holland go through Germany, France, or the UK, or stay in Holland. So that's actually our main outlet. And of course, there are a lot of other export countries, but their percentages are smaller. Does that answer your question?
That was the question of Arnold.
Okay. There was another question coming in via the chat, I saw. Or a remark, I'm not sure. Can you?
He's making a kind of a description of himself.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so Alex wrote, I like flowers for the looks. I suck at caring for plants indoor. Not into gardening, like giving and receiving flowers. Can you make a guess? What group do I belong to?
Well, we need a little bit more information, a little bit, but
Yeah, but we might see a status seeker here.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yet.
Okay. I think there are no more questions. Let's wait a few more minutes. Thank you, Alex.
Well, I hope you enjoyed it, or you got the information you were looking for.
Yeah, and please reach out to us if you have any more questions. We will answer them gladly.
Yes.
Just to do this via Melis. Monique, I heard you mentioning also, just for sure, to be sure to put the films on the link.
I will. Yeah, this I can still reach this chat, right, Melis, or not?
No, it's only available
Okay.
right now, but I will email everyone with the recording of this session.
Yeah.
And if you can just share the links with me, I can share with others.
Yeah.
as well.
Okay, I will. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, then we can close today's session. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It
thank
was
you.
a pleasure. Thank you, Roel. Thank you, Monique.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.